This video is about conjunctions. So today's topic is something that most learners think is extremely simple, almost too basic even to study. And that topic is conjunctions. Now, usually what happens? Students learn one line. A conjunction is a word that joins words or sentences. That's it. They move on. But here's the problem. They never actually understand how conjunctions control meaning. They never learn how conjunctions affect logic, and because of that, their writing and speaking feel disconnected. Okay, so today we are not going to do a school level lesson. We are going to understand conjunctions as a thinking tool because in real English, they don't just join sentences, they control relationships between ideas. And once you understand that, your fluency, coherence, and clarity will completely change. Okay? So, what are conjunctions? Yes, as you all know, they connect words, phrases, or clauses. But more importantly, how are these two ideas connected? Think like this. Without conjunctions, say for example, he studied hard. Full stop. He failed. And with conjunction, he studied hard, but he failed. Now, can you understand what happened? One small word I have used, the word but, that changed the entire meaning, right? So here it introduced contrast, it added emotion, it made the sentence powerful, right? So conjunction is meaning controller, not just a joining word. Got it? And I'll tell you why conjunctions are important. So without conjunctions, your sentence feel broken. Your ideas feel disconnected. And with conjunctions, you will have a very smooth flow and you can also find the logical progression when you speak or write. So they show relationships, they help you show the cause, for example, because, since, and they help you to show the contrast by using the words like but, although, and you can show the relationship of the result like so, therefore, and you can also tell the conditions using the words such as if, unless, right? So these are the importance for using the conjunctions because they show relationships and they show the logical flow. Got it? And remember, they are also very critical in exams. In exams like essay writing, speaking, reading, conjunctions means your coherent score will improve. Okay? Most students with basic vocabulary but strong conjunction use often they get high score than students with big fancy words but poor structure. This is the truth. Now you can understand the importance of conjunctions, right? So let's go into the different types of conjunctions. Type 1 is coordinating conjunctions. Okay, so we call it as fanboys. So these coordinating conjunctions are used to join two or more ideas that are equal in importance and structure. So these ideas can be words or phrases or independent clauses, and neither part depends on the other for the meaning. So in simple terms, both sides can stand alone, and the conjunction simply connects them to show a relationship like addition, a contrast, or a result. See, they do not create hierarchy. Instead, they maintain balance between the ideas. So we call these as fanboys. So F for, A for and, N for nor, B for but, O for or, and Y for yet. And finally, yes for so. So that's why it's fanboys. Okay. So the words are for, and, nor, but, or, at, so. Just remember these words. So we call them as fanboys in order to remember easily. And let me give you some examples here. The company expanded rapidly, yet its internal systems remained inefficient. He wanted to invest in the project, but the financial risks were too high. The data was incomplete, so the researchers delayed their conclusion. So, if you segregate these sentences into two, okay, each sentences into two sentences, still it remains as complete sentences, but it will give you additional value to show the relationship, right? That's why we are using conjunction here. And remember, coordinating means equal weight ideas, no hierarchy here. And the second type here is subordinating conjunctions. So here, these create dependency because subordinating conjunctions are used to connect a main clause, that means the independent clause, with a dependent, that means the subordinate clause, where one idea is more important than the other. So in this case, one part of the sentence cannot stand alone and depends on the main clause to complete its meaning. That's why we call it as a main clause and the subordinate clause, right? So these conjunctions establish relationship such as cause, condition, contrast, time, or reason, clearly showing how one idea supports or modifies another. So here they create a hierarchy of ideas where one idea becomes the focus and the other provides additional information. So the common ones that we use here are the words such as because, although, while, if, unless, since, even though. All these comes under subordinating conjunctions. Okay. So here are some of the examples. Although the technology promises efficiency, its long-term impact remains uncertain. If the government fails to regulate digital platforms, misinformation may continue to spread. So here, if government fails, while the policy aims to promote growth, while it may intentionally widen inequality. So now you can find the difference, right? So how one clause depends on the other one. Okay. So here the one idea is stronger and one idea supports the other one. The third type is the correlative conjunctions. So these work in pairs. That's why we call it as correlative conjunctions. They work together to connect balanced and related elements within a sentence. So these pairs always function together, not separately. And they are used to emphasize the relationship between two parallel ideas. If you see here, the structure on both sides must be grammatically parallel, meaning they should match in form and style. So we are using this to create emphasis, comparison, or choice, making the sentence more structured and impactful. So the words such as not only and but also, either or, neither nor, both and. So these are some of the example words that we use. I'll show you some of the examples. You can just pause the video and go through these examples. So these are the complex conjunctions. Okay. Now, the fourth one, we call it as high level usage. So here, same idea, but different conjunction and different meaning. He was tired, so he stopped working. So this one is the result, right? He was tired, but he continued working. So here, this shows the contrast, right? Though he was tired, he continued working. So this is the contrast. He stopped working because he was tired. So again, here it shows the cause. So this one is the same idea, different conjunction, and it gives the different meaning. Got it? Now, I have some practice questions for you. You can just pause the video, kindly go through this and try to identify the correct option that fits over here. Now, let me reveal the answers for this. For the first one, the project was well planned, dash it failed due to poor execution. But, so here it shows a contrast. Dash the evidence was limited, the researcher drew strong conclusion. So out of the four options, the correct option is although, right? Again, it shows the contrast. And he will not succeed dash he changes his approach. So obviously here unless he will not succeed unless he changes his approach. So remember, if unless comes for condition, right? The company expanded rapidly dash it maintained high quality standards. So here the company maintained expanded rapidly and should come here. Okay, so this one is the addition. Dash the risk involved, the team decided to proceed with the experiment. So here again the contrastive phrase, what should come here? Despite the risk involved, the team decided to proceed with the experiment. Okay. So that's all for today's video. Kindly like, share, and subscribe for more English tips. See you in the next video. Bye bye.